Welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, please leave us a 5-star review. Quick shout out to a couple of my stand-up dates. I'm going to be performing December 11th at Tiff's in Morris Plains with comedians of the Compound. That's Tiff's in Morris Plains, also known as the Dojo of Comedy or Tiff's Ale House. And then December 12th, I'll be headlining the Hartford Funny Bone in Hartford, Connecticut. And then December 13th, I'll be heading to Arkansas to headline the Little Rock Looney Bin. And then December 15th and 16th, I will be heading back to Texas. There we go. It's scrolling down below. I'm going back to Texas with Anthony Cumia and Aaron Berg to perform at Hyenas in Dallas, my favorite club in Texas. And then this is all leading up to my album recording. I'm recording a comedy special on Thursday, January 6th, out on Long Island, Levittown, Governor's Comedy Club. It's super fun. I'm really excited. Tickets for all of these shows can be found on my website, ChrissieMayr.com. Can't wait to see you guys there. I've got a bunch of shirts for sale on TeePublic. I'm really excited and proud of them because many of them have to do with puns. For example, Make America Great Again. This may or may not be my real body. That's up to you to decide. Comes in all of the colors. And then just in time for Christmas. This is so corny. Have yourself a Mayor Christmas. And it's a picture of me. You can get it in green or red or a normal everyday color if you're not the festive type. Also, I'm doing a super cool collaboration with Silk City Hot Sauce. Go to, actually, it's Levinsky's Topshelf.com. LEVINSKY Topshelf.com. Check it out, guys. It's Nightmare, the Chrissie Mayr hot sauce. Gosh, I love the puns. Sweet and smooth with a burst of fire, jalapenos, pear, sweet apple cider, super hot habanero. This is the verde sauce that'll awaken your soul. And look, it's a picture of me eating somebody's innards. Only $10. Plus, you get a little bit of money off if you use the code CMP at checkout. So that's very exciting. Buy all my things. Buy all my things, guys. I'm very excited for all these shows and this album recording. But I'm also extremely excited for this guest. It's not every day we have a hot libertarian lady on the show. She's a libertarian. She is running for commissioner of Miami-Dade District 10. And we're going to get into all this politics stuff because this is not my wheelhouse, but I'm so happy that she is here. Martha Bueno, how are you?
I am fantastic. How are you?
I am super. I'm wondering what is making you run for office? Isn't that the scariest?
Because I'm insane.
Okay.
That's the answer. Because the truth of the matter is I'm an advocate. I've been an advocate for cannabis for a long time. And then I started talking in front of the commissioners about just issues, things like our property taxes and they wouldn't pay attention. So I was like, oh, well, I guess I should run and then they'll have to pay attention. So here I am.
Oh, wow. Really? Because you're out in Florida, which is, I guess, the best place to live if you enjoy freedom nowadays.
Right. Florida and Texas, apparently, but definitely come to Florida. And I think like all New Yorkers are moving here. So, this is going to be I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Yeah.
I hope it's not a bad thing. I hope there's a lot of idiots in New York. And I know that they are all moving down to Florida. My parents moved down to Florida. Lots of people. I think the LA people are moving to Texas and the New York people are moving to Florida. But yeah, I really hope they don't fuck it up for you. I'm really praying that they don't.
I just hope that they come down here and they don't want to bring New York politics down here. I just hope that we keep it free.
Yeah, that is my hope too. Also very exciting. Did you see today that Chris Cuomo is finally getting his comeuppance? Chris Cuomo today suspended by CNN They are suspending him indefinitely pending further evaluation following new disclosures about how he helped his brother, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, the Love Gov, in the midst of a scandal over sexual harassment allegations, a move that leaves Warner Media Network without the services of its most watched anchor. Yeah, right. Okay.
How bad does it have to be for CNN to actually do something about it?
Whoo, yeah. Yeah.
I may have called CNN out this week for the massacre. So I mean, I'm totally on Team CNN on this particular case, but this doesn't happen often.
Oh, you mean the massacre that was committed by the random SUV with no driver in it?
Right. I'm so impressed that, it was a Tesla and we didn't even know it. It just drove itself down the street, apparently.
Right. I think it actually was a red Ford Explorer. We get more details about the car than we do about the driver.
Right.
Because
Which is just incredible.
Yeah, God forbid we have a murderer who doesn't fit the narrative. But this makes me happy to see Chris Cuomo getting suspended off of CNN. Apparently, he used his connections and inside information to kind of help Andrew Cuomo's staff out in some way. Let's see. He said the New York Attorney General's office released transcripts and exhibits Monday that shed new light on Chris Cuomo's involvement in his brother's defense. The documents of which we were not privy to before the public release raised serious questions. Chris admitted to us that he had offered advice to his brother's staff. He broke our rules, acknowledged that publicly. But we also appreciate the position he was in and that he needed to put family first and his job second, CNN said. Ugh.
Yeah. I mean, both brothers are terrible. So is there any surprise here?
I'm not surprised at all. I'm thrilled. I don't know. I never understood that part during like the beginning of the lockdown when everybody was like obsessing over the two of them. I don't know. I was never a Cuomo sexual.
It was like they needed to tell us that we had to pay attention to these two guys. Like it was just in our faces. And then they both turned out to be horrible human beings. So,
yeah. Everyone, I always say, like, everyone needs to have their sort of freedom rock bottom, their moment when they realize, like, oh, shit is different now. And I need to actually activate and do something and not just like sit on my ass and tweet. For you, do you so now you're at the point where you're running for office. What do you kind of attribute your sort of like political awakening to? Was it because of your parents? Because you have a very interesting background. Your dad was sentenced to 6 years in prison for attempting to leave Cuba. And then your ballsy mom broke him out. How did your mom break him out of prison? How did you even do that?
Okay, to be fair, he served 6 months in a regular prison and then he got moved to a work camp, a gulag, if you will, in Cuba. Camp work. You basically pick produce in the fields, whatever it is that they send you to do. And so my grandmother set this whole thing up. She, my mom didn't know how to drive, neither did my grandmother. This is Cuba back in, late 60s, early 70s. So my grandmother set the whole thing, got drivers, and she was the one that was going to do it. And then the day of, they had coordinated everything. She couldn't go through with it. And my mom was like,
wow.
When we say bad words, fuck it.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, I'm just going to do it, myself. And she did. And she drove, 8 hours to get to, with two guys that she had never met before, put her life into their hands, drove across, got to where he was, and they had, again, work camp. It's a little different, but he showed up with like 12 of his closest buddies. It wasn't like, it didn't go exactly as planned. But she did get him out, got him to a town right next to Guantanamo, which is where the United States has its naval base. And he hid out there for about a month until the heat was kind of off of him. And then he swam to this like island in the middle between Guantanamo and the town he was in. Swam to it. There was an American soldier on that island. He gave him his hand and the soldier pulled him up and he said, "Welcome to America."
This sounds like the American dream.
It is. That's where you asked me where I get this from. That is where I get it from. I mean, how do you live up to something like that, right? I've got two badass parents.
And also, apparently now you have really good swimming genes. Like, have you ever considered being a competitive swimmer?
Not me. No, I do have kids. They're pretty good swimmers. Yeah, I'm not. No, I can swim, just not well.
Was it cold? So what did he have to swim through? I should probably pull up a map. Which body of water did he have to swim through?
So it's right off of Guantanamo. Guantanamo has I looked it up once because I was like, what is this like? It's like a little island right in the middle of like a bay. And it's Cuba. I don't think it was very cold, but he did it in the middle of the night. And he says that there was definitely animals in there with him. He thought it was a shark or something.
Oh,
I don't know. He doesn't really like talking about it. Funny enough.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to get my dad to sit down and like interview him on camera so that I can have this for posterity, and not having much luck.
Yeah, just be like, Dad, like this is part of your legacy. It's important to me. But that's what a story. So what was it like? Did your dad and like did your mom and dad tell you a lot of stories about like what it was like living in Cuba, like or anything like that?
Surprisingly not. I
Mhm.
grew up kind of, and I think that's common here in Miami. A lot of Cubans don't tell their children. They're like, we made it here. This is who we are now. We're Americans. And so you embrace the new culture. And I think you kind of leave behind the old culture a little bit. But I also grew up in Venezuela. I don't know how familiar you are with what's going on over there, but a similar situation. So I grew up in Venezuela before it became a communist hellhole. And so that's really, again, I've seen it with my own two eyes now. I moved to Venezuela in the late 80s and stayed there until 95. And it was around that point, just after that, Chavez took over. And then now we have Maduro. And it's a terrible situation. So, it's really hard to live in this situation and not have some of it, not realize that the reason people are really struggling is because of politics, is because of the government and the corruption and whatnot. So I think it's really hard to live through that system and not be on the side of freedom, especially if, all I want is to leave people alone. I want to win the seat to leave people alone, basically.
Yeah, I'm gonna work the hardest to get it, and then goodbye, everybody. Wow, so you personally saw this change happen in Venezuela?
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I wasn't there at that point. I was able to get out. I was born here. So thanks, mom and dad.
Yeah.
I was born here. And so I had an American passport, and my parents weren't about to let me stay there, living there when we can come back to America. But yeah, it was a slow progression, but then it just happened really fast. And I've been living it vicariously, watching the news and watching it through my own friends and experiences. Thankfully, I got out before it got even remotely bad.
What kind of what are your friends experiencing over there now? Do you talk with them a lot?
So most of my friends have now left at this point. I have very few that still live there because Venezuela is really, really bad. So everything we associate with Cuba is pretty much happening in Venezuela. There's very little food. Their electricity cuts out. They don't have the ability to. So in America, if you work really hard or whatever, you too can make it. Of course, that doesn't apply to everyone. And yes, I get that some people have a lot harder time. But generally, as a general rule, if you work really hard, you can make it. You can get enough money. In Venezuela, the average salary at this moment is $1.40 per month.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
People eat out of garbage cans. And then you have this dichotomy because there's really rich people who are part of the government. So one of the largest, I think it's Ferrari. I think Ferrari has the largest store in Latin America in Venezuela. So you have this crazy world, tale of two worlds. It really is impressive to watch. If it wasn't so sad, it would be a marvel, but it's very sad. It's absolutely. Ugh.
Do you think if most people in this country lived through what you lived through, they would appreciate and fight for their freedoms more?
God, I hope so. What's the alternative to that? No, they'd want more social. I hope so.
Yeah, I think it's just because people haven't lived through it and they just don't know how good they have it and what it would look like and how bad it can get if it were to slip through your fingers. So I love it. I love that you're running to leave people alone. That should be on a t-shirt. I think that should be
That's
definitely
like I can't take credit for that. That's like every libertarian says that. It's like, we want
true.
to take over to leave you alone. That's not mine.
Were
Mine
your
is bueno for Miami. Bueno in Spanish is good.
good?
So I'm good for Miami.
Yeah. I took a little bit Espanol just through college, but I forgot a lot of it. So
You
I
got
have,
to practice it.
yeah, I know enough to like get by in the Cancun airport, but
That's all you need it for. As long as you can order drinks.
yeah,
Order food.
margarita.
There you go.
Anybody can learn margarita. So were your parents libertarian leaning
No,
at
not
all?
at all. My parents were Republicans, full on Republican.
Mhm.
But I think that's kind of unfair because I think most people don't know what a libertarian is. I think that
Yeah.
I didn't know what a libertarian was until like the year 2000 or something. I voted for George W. Bush in 2000. Like
You
my
don't
one,
even look old enough to have voted for George W. Bush.
oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I am. It's like a tree. Come down. I got the rings to prove it. Definitely old enough. Yeah, I voted for him. Yeah, that was a big mistake. And then I found out that there were these people that believed the things that I believe in. And it was like mind blown. And I haven't looked back.
You're like, yeah, there's a group of people who, yeah, me too. I only found out about what it meant to be a libertarian, like, gosh, really only probably 2018. So I'm like, I'm brand new to the
Welcome.
world. Thank you.
And I don't even call it like libertarian is this political title. I believe that we're in a liberty movement because, every now and then we see something that the Libertarian Party does or people within the Libertarian Party. And I am like, I totally don't know who these people are. So just like in anything in politics, there's some good, there's some bad. But overall, I believe I belong to this liberty movement. People who want freedom, doesn't matter what they call themselves.
And I think what I'm learning about pretty recently is like how the concept of like truly living a free life is so ingrained with like our currency, and I'm trying to learn more and more about it. Like so far, like the most I really know about cryptocurrency right now is like I have nerdy friends who are just telling me to buy it, and that's what I'm going off of right now. But I want to know, like, how did you kind of get into crypto? Because I feel like it's hard to know where to even start.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not going to educate your people on crypto. I am like functionally idiotic in this space. Like I know enough to be dangerous, but yeah, you definitely don't want to take advice from me. I've known about it for a while because this is like a libertarian thing. We're always like trying to find currency outside of. So I've known about it for a while, and I think anything that gets us away from the United States government is a good thing. And I'm actually really hopeful for. So Venezuela is one of the countries where there's more transactions on the Bitcoin network than almost any other country in the world. It's definitely in the top 5.
How did that happen?
Because when the government controls the money, and I mean, there's hyperinflation in Venezuela. Every month, your money is worth 50% less, 100% less. I mean, it's just these insane numbers. So you couldn't save in bolivares. You couldn't. I mean, it's impossible. If you have 1 bolivar tomorrow, it's worth 50 cents. And the next, it's just something that's so crazy. So they're transacting in crypto. And I think it's a use case. And for me, for Cuba, I really, really want them, to try and introduce crypto into Cuba as well. I think it's the future. For Americans here, I mean, I'd hedge my bets. I'd definitely, again, this isn't financial advice, but you should definitely have a coin or two in your wallet. And the only thing I do know is if you don't own your keys, you don't own anything. So if you do buy something, please put it on your own cold storage wallet. Don't leave it on one of these networks, one of these wallets or whatever.
Because there was an issue that happened where someone, and I'm learning more about this guy, Ross Ulbrecht, who he had a bunch of money left in an e-wallet. Now I'm going to sound like such a boomer because like that's how little I know about this. And because I had heard about the Silk Road. So he created the Silk Road as just a way for people to basically trade in crypto.
He actually created it as an open marketplace. So Ross is the libertarian, right? If like you had to look up in the dictionary, like libertarian, his picture should be there. So who's Ross?
And he's cute too.
Oh my God, he's adorable. What? And his family is so nice. So I've had the pleasure of meeting his mom and his sister, and they are amazing people. But Ross, total libertarian, he believed in a free market. And so this site that he built was so that people could freely transact and they could exchange goods with Bitcoin. So he was the first use case for Bitcoin. And anything could be sold on the site, but he did have some standards. So no child trafficking, no child porn, like nothing stolen, and some other, I know that he had like standards, right? But then anything else, and he wasn't the one selling it. It was other people. So it was like, picture, if you will, an eBay where you could rate people and they would, sell you something and you send them money. And it was like that. So he, was given a double life sentence plus 40 years, which to me is the biggest.
It seems insane. Like for not killing someone.
Right. So they tried to pin on him. They tried to pin on him some murder for hire charges, but it never actually went to court. Now, if the United States was going to like accuse him and give him double life sentence plus 40 years, and they had proof that he, tried to have people murdered, I'm sure that would have come out in this trial. They never charged him with it officially. They never proved it in court. So that comes up a lot, and it really bothers me because, he went through his day in court. That was never brought up. So that's one thing that people talk about a lot. And then the other thing is there were 6 people that supposedly overdosed after purchasing something on the Silk Road. And so they're blaming him for that, which I also, I mean,
if they hadn't got it through that, they would have overdosed at some point anyway, because if that's their tendency, or
they would have gotten killed buying drugs. I mean, it's almost more dangerous to go buy drugs than to do the drugs. So, I mean, it's such a horrible case. And since we're on the subject, his NFT is launching at Art Basel this week on December 2nd. So he's launching an NFT, and it's really exciting. The money is going to go for his defense, and half of it is going to, his mom is setting up a charity to help other prisoners because, she's a big believer that once you're in jail, people forget about you. People have forgotten about Ross. Ross has been in there for 9 years.
Wow.
And it's his mom that like champions this and goes to every conference she's invited to. And yeah, exactly. There's a little video associated with that.
Ooh, let's play it.
Go for it. He has a talk too on his website that he did at the Bitcoin conference.
Wow.
Yeah. They don't show the art though, but this is pretty cool.
Okay, I'm gonna play it again because I want to read the beginning part. Hold the phone. Decades of incarceration stretch out in front of me as I face that future. I find myself looking for meaning and purpose. Why am I here? What good can I do with the time I have left? I hope that helping my fellow prisoners through my art is one way. Wow. Like, can you imagine, like, you're looking at the rest of your life in prison? Like, how do you even cope? You must go through.
Oh my God. And I knew nothing about prison, and I've learned so much through him. But I mean, there's no conjugal visits. He's not even allowed to touch his mom when she goes visit him.
Whoa.
Which I think is torture on top. Like, how is that not cruel and unusual punishment for, I think he was in his very late 20s, 28 or something when he went into this prison. And so to never again, like,
that's
touch another human being. I mean, I just find it.
Yeah, that seems extra.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's not the only one. That's the worst part. He's not the only one. There are more Ross Ulbrichts who just don't have a mom, like Lynn Ulbricht, who will travel the world to talk about her son.
It says coming December 2nd, 2021. Wow. In collaboration with Levitate and Topics Super Rare, freeross.org. A charitable NFT project in direct collaboration with Ross Ulbrecht. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Great family. It really sucks, the whole thing.
Yeah. So what has his mom been doing? And that's like, I barely know anything about NFTs, and it's like, how is his mom? You know what I mean? Like, what has this process been like?
I have to say, Lynn is like the queen of Bitcoin. I mean, when your son is Ross Ulbricht, like people just want to help. And I think it just shows the character of not only Ross, but Lynn, that people are just so, how can I help you? How can I do this? I mean, to me, Ross is a hero. He put together a marketplace based on these ideas that we have, where you don't need government interference in it. And I'm pretty sure he saved a lot of more lives than what is attributed to him. Something that people don't know is there was insulin and other things sold on the site that people, couldn't get otherwise. So it's just such a terrible thing. So what's the process of putting an NFT together? I have no idea. None whatsoever. I know she's been working on it. I have no idea. I'm not technical enough.
Yeah, it's just a way to like raise money for. So like, what would the process even be like to try to get him out? Or from my outsider perspective, it seems like he's just getting banged really hard for this to set an example, because like he scared some people because he created a marketplace where exactly what you're saying, you don't need the government, and it's like, oh shit, like we need you to need us, so we're gonna really put you away for life.
They made an example out of him, and if you look on the dark web now, there are hundreds of stores just like that, except you can actually trade in horrible things.
Right.
That's what happens. Government took the big one out, and now there's space for all these other people. So they didn't stop the point of all of this is they didn't stop what they were trying to stop. Now there's over 100 copycat sites.
And what are they going to do? Are they going to find? I mean, they're not going to be able to find every single one of them and put them away. And that's the thing. Wow. Breaking news. Fully vaccinated LeBron James tests positive for COVID. Is this true? Take that, LeBron, you bastard. Oh, that's exciting. Let me see if I can pull up a story.
Isn't it funny how people who got the vaccine and were told that they wouldn't be able to get it, and then they get it?
Yeah. And so like convinced that they're going to be safe and untouchable. And also, like, of course, here he is, like last week throwing fans out for heckling him. Just like, I don't know. Like, aren't you able to focus like a little bit better than to, like, that shouldn't bother you? I don't know. Damn. So is LeBron not gonna play now? Yet you have those other players whose names I forgot about, but one was on the Brooklyn Nets. A couple players.
I hope you're not asking me. I know. No, I'm asking. Okay, good. I was gonna say wrongest. I'm gonna just
wrongest. God, I was just talking about them a couple weeks ago. There were a couple players that like were cut off from playing. Kyrie, right. Kyrie Irving on the Brooklyn Nets. And there was somebody else who they were just not letting them play because they wouldn't get vaccinated. And now you have LeBron, who's fully vaccinated, who gets COVID. So like, it's going to be such a double standard. I know it's like, he'll probably sit it out for however long it takes, and then he'll be back in. And I don't know, I guess they'll have a better.
Is this not just crazy? Like, why not just test the players right before going out on the court? Like, why do we need to know their vaccination status? The point is, do you have COVID or not? I don't get this.
Right. The moment vaccinated people were getting and giving it, there goes all arguments for forcing vaccination. Like, that's the reason.
But it's like, so you're better off, but I'm still going to get it.
But it's not going to be as harsh. Well, if that's the case, then isn't that my choice to deal with the severity of it? And that ultimately kind of comes down to how healthy I am to begin with anyway.
Right. And they're like, but you don't know the long-term consequences. Funny you should say that. You also don't know the long-term consequences of the vaccine. I mean, I'm definitely, okay. I'm not anti-vax.
Yes, of course not. Of course not.
Right. I'm not anti-vax, but why are we forcing people to do something? It goes against everything I believe in.
The longer this goes on, the crazier it is, and the less they have to stand on. And it's just like, who can take Fauci seriously anymore? Who can take this presidency seriously anymore? And it's just everyone. Yet you still have such a vocal minority of people. Oh, I can't understand why people watch Joe Rogan. And it's like, oh man, it's like we're dealing with like two separate realities here.
Isn't that funny how Joe Rogan got better like so fast, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's horrible." What do you mean? The guy did like amazingly, but he's like in that top 1% of like bodies. Like he's just like
Oh,
fit.
Rogan? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
he's jacked. He's got a great bod.
Right.
Yeah.
He's
He
like
should do his podcast shirtless. I keep emailing him to do it, but he won't write me back. I think that would help enhance it for me personally. But yeah, and it's
I
like
can get behind that. Let's
yeah.
start this thing. Like Rogan podcast, no shirt.
The American people are sick of polished, quote, like professional reporters, quote, journalists, because it's like they're all liars. You can't trust them. So it's like, yeah, of course we're gonna be more likely to trust a regular ass guy like Rogan.
Plus, we've known him for so long.
Yeah, everyone's like,
He's
oh,
the Fear Factor guy.
he's oh, go back to Fear Factor. It's like, oh, he's a failed actor. I'm like, if the way he's failing, then I'd like to fail that way too. If selling out Madison Square Garden is failing, then I would like to fail that way.
Sign me up too. I want to
Yeah.
fail. I want to feel like Joe Rogan. I mean, the guy is just impressive. He really is. And people are like, he took a horse dewormer. Listen, he sold his podcast for $100 million. I assure you, Spotify wasn't going to be like, yeah, take a horse dewormer. No worries. Like he got the human version for sure.
Right. Who cares? Who cares even if it was? I don't know. I feel like, what if just the label's different? Like you just peel back the label, when you get like vitamins or like you peel back the label.
It is absolutely the same thing, by the way.
Label under. So then who cares? So then like, what is the big deal by saying it's for horses? It's for people. It's the same shit. Who cares? Like there's tons of stuff. I mean, like aren't so many of our makeup and our other chemicals and stuff are tested on animals? So it's like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, and a lot of our medicine is the same medicine for animals, antibiotics and stuff. It's the same one. You can like
they just have to get him on something to like discredit him.
He got better in 3 days. You have to catch him on something else. So it's going to be the horse dewormer.
Yeah.
But by the way, he also took the monoclonal and he took vitamins and
it can't be his sick bod and all that vitamin D.
All that weed he smokes, all those mushroom he takes.
Martha, I definitely never expected us to be sexualizing Joe Rogan on our episode together, but I'm glad it's happening.
It's only fair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you get sexualized quite a bit, so it's only
not
fair that we
as
dish
much
it.
As I'd like, actually.
Is that so?
The more the better. Good question from Douglas in the chat. Martha, do you think DeSantis will run for POTUS?
I think he would. Why wouldn't he? That would be silly for him not to. I mean, he'd also probably win. People love him. People love him here in Florida. People love him around the United States.
I know people who have moved to Florida specifically for him.
I mean, I'm sure he appreciates it.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's like, yes. Yeah, I think he's done a fairly good job. I mean, I'm going to be hard on any governor, and he's had his moments that meh. But I mean, overall, I think, especially when you compare it to the rest of the United States, he's done a pretty damn good job. So, yeah, I'm going to say move to Florida and keep voting for DeSantis. Unless we put up a Libertarian candidate that is better than DeSantis, then please vote for DeSantis.
Do you think that person is Dave Smith?
He lives in New York, so
I mean, like I was talking about for president.
Oh, for president.
2024.
I am a delegate for the Libertarian Party usually, so I really am not gonna. I don't want to.
Give your opinion.
Yeah. It's such a small party. I know that like Amash is gonna run, and I don't know if Spike is gonna run, but there's so many good people that anybody that runs, I would support.
What do you think are like the biggest misconceptions about libertarians?
That we're Republicans that smoke weed.
I've heard that a lot.
We do smoke weed, not all of us, but some. But we're not Republicans in the least. I mean, we might look closer to the Republicans of yesteryear, the ones that were like smaller government, less taxes. That's not who we are, and Republicans are no longer there. So that's probably the biggest misconception. That, or that we're all losers, or that I hear that quite a bit, which is really unfortunate. I think we're pretty cool. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but
I agree. I think you're very cool. And yeah, that is a misconception that people think that like libertarians are even more of a right version of Republicans.
oh no, we are totally left on so many things, but not Democrats. So we have a lot of the values that the old Democrats used to have. So like we are totally against war. We are totally for legalization of drugs, legalization of things like prostitution. I mean, what two consenting adults do in their bedroom or a hotel is not any of our business. So I think we're very socially liberal. And then, in regards to fiscal things, well, we're just Austrian economics led mostly on that side.
What would you say like are the biggest things that the Libertarian Party like needs to fix, I think, to gain more kind of like public appeal or to, because I just feel like right, there's still so many people who have no clue about libertarians or don't know that they themselves might be libertarians like in hiding. So I don't know, how would you address like some of the bigger problems like
some of the big problems, we as a party have problems, but some of the really big problems we have don't come from us. So Republicans and Democrats have held control of this country for 167 years. It has never gone to any other party than Republican or Democrat for the last 167 years. So when you write rules and you're writing rules for your two groups, you are going to write rules to exclude other people. And that's where we are today. So a great example is, for example, Tennessee. To get on the ballot in Tennessee, you need to, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, it's 25 signatures. And you're on the ballot, no big deal. If you're a libertarian, you need about 56,000 signatures. Now, I collected petitions for cannabis here in Florida, for like an amendment here in Florida for cannabis. And I mean, cannabis, who doesn't want to sign their name to a piece of paper to make it legal, right? It took over 2 years for this group in Florida to get 2 years and $1 million. So they expect libertarians, in order to get on the ballot in Tennessee, to collect 56,000 signatures. It's so unfair. It is so unfair, and it's frustratingly so. At least if it would be like 100 signatures to the 25, or Republicans and Democrats both have to collect 50,000 signatures to our 56. That's not the case. It is very disproportionate. And then the Commission on Presidential Debates, which is a whole nother cluster. This is a group of Republicans and Democrats that control the debates, and they only allowed somebody that wasn't one of them. Ross Perot was the only person that ever made it on the debate stage. Wow. And they changed the rules. I mean, with Gary Johnson, it was like, hey, if you get 10%, you get to be in the debates. And then they just stopped polling. They did not poll Dr. I mean, it's just, the system is so rigged. The system is so rigged. And it's not just like, we don't fight this for just libertarians. We fight this because in a country of 330 million people, how is it possible that in 2020, our only options were two men who had been accused of sexual assault? I don't get it.
Yeah, it is wild. It's crazy because I remember some of our earlier, not that I was alive, but like some of our earlier presidents, it was not just Republican and Democrat. Like it would be more like independent party, or I forget the name of some of the older political parties.
Right. There's also like the Green Party, I think, and now I'm blanking on his name for the Green Party. He ran, is it Ralph Nader? Ralph Nader, yeah. Ran many times. I mean, you're right. We had other candidates, and it was always like, well, no, we're going to go with these guys. But at least they were covered by the media. I worked on Dr. Jorgensen's media, Hispanic media, over her campaign, and I got to my face the Hispanic media saying, we're just not going to cover her.
Wow. Why? Did they just feel like it's a total waste of time? Like she wouldn't get
Because the media isn't there to tell us, like, I thought that they were, right? I was like, Latinos, we want immigration. Dr. Jorgensen is for immigration. Let's, this is like a match made in heaven. And they're like, no, we're going for Biden.
Just like that.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, if it wouldn't have happened to me, I wouldn't believe it. It's so odd. But then, I think you got to know where your bread is buttered.
After Trump, would you be totally against another kind of public figure running for office? So it just came out that Dr. Oz is running for U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania. I think this may have come out just today. But do you think that Trump set a bad precedent for sort of like a public figure, maybe coming from the entertainment world, running for
No, it was
office?
so entertaining. Are you kidding me? Like, please. I'm sad. We have another comedian in office, but this is funny for a whole other, set of reasons. I thought at least Trump was the most entertaining president since W.
Oh, for sure. He was a ton of laughs.
Yeah, he was. And so was Trump. So I don't think anybody could really do the job of the president. If you look at America, we're 330 million people. Imagine a corporation of 330 million. Like, it's impossible. And I mean, I don't even agree necessarily with that whole concept. I think we need governance. I don't know that we need government. I think there's a difference.
Keep it to the states, like how it used to be.
Right.
I'm going to play this little video from Dr. Oz. Look at him all dressed up. Okay, let's see what he has to say.
My parents came to America to find a better life, and they did. I attended great universities, raised a family, and became a successful surgeon. I invented a heart valve that saves thousands of lives.
Wow.
Then I started a TV show to advocate for you taking control of your health, and took on the medical establishment to argue against costly drugs and skyrocketing medical bills. But COVID has shown us that our system is broken. We lost too many lives, too many jobs, and too many opportunities because Washington got it wrong. They took away our freedom without making us safer and tried to kill our spirit and our dignity. As a heart surgeon, I know how precious life is. Pennsylvania needs a conservative who will put America first, one who can reignite our divine spark, bravely fight for freedom, and tell it like it is. That's why I'm running for Senate. I'm Dr. Oz, and I approve this message.
Oh, Dr. Oz. I would vote for him.
I mean, just based on that video alone, so would I. I mean, it's great. I want a video like that. I need a video like that.
I'm like, he's holding a baby.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what he stands for, but
but he looks great in a suit. He looks great.
God. He said freedom like at least twice. I'm in, Dr. Oz. I'm in.
He doesn't like COVID. I didn't like COVID.
Right. We have that in common. Like, oh my God, he's so great.
This feels like a good time to talk about the sponsor for this episode. I know that Martha dabbles in the cannabis world, but here we have Cushy Dreams. You can get all the health benefits of CBD without going out to lunch. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. Cushy Dreams has different indica sativa blends like Relax, Dream, Energy, Create, Hustle, Peace. So if you want to be a little bit more energetic during the day or a little bit more relaxed before bed, Cushy Dreams has got your back. Ships to all 50 states. If you use the code CMP at the checkout, you get 20% off. Cushy Dreams. It's Cushy with a K. Dreams.com. Check it out, guys. I love their products so much because they've helped me with my anxiety. They come in pre-rolls and also little tins. But I like the pre-rolls because of their portability, and I can stick it in my purse. Martha, you're a fan of the cannabis.
I am a fan of the cannabis. I'm actually a hemp farmer.
And you grow it. What are the what can you do with hemp other than the obvious?
So what you're smoking there, CBD, that's hemp. So it's basically the same plant, except it has a lower THC content and a higher CBD content, but it's essentially the same. Same. Just a little different.
Do you make clothes with it too?
I don't. I am only growing it for the flower at this point, and I'm looking to hopefully get into the marijuana business when Florida gets their stuff together and the applications for the cannabis licenses go out. I'm hoping.
Yeah, call it like Bueno Bud or something.
Yeah, it's a pipe dream right now. We'll see. These licenses sell for like $60 million a pop once you get it. So yeah,
Wow.
it's leave it to the states to steal your rights, to like rob you of your freedom and then sell it back to the highest bidder. Legitimately, that's what's happening here. Like if I put a seed into the ground right now and it's THC, I could go to jail for a very long time. But if the state gives me one of these really expensive, cool licenses, I too can be growing it and selling it to all my friends and neighbors and everybody else. I mean, it's ridiculous what the United States government, what Florida government's doing, everybody, it's ridiculous. But here we are. Somebody's asking, should we legalize heroin? Yes, we should.
Really?
I mean, yes, we should legalize all drugs.
Oh man, Frank saw something today. It was like that New York City was would open up a place where people could go to just shoot up. A shooting gallery.
Like shooting gallery?
Yes, like go not to shoot guns, but to shoot up.
Wow.
And I feel like
60K is cheap for a government license. No, it says 60 million. I didn't say 60K.
60 million.
Wrong. Add a few zeros.
If all drugs are legalized, like do you think there would be more overdoses?
I think it would be the opposite. And I have a very close family member who is a meth addict. And so this is something that is very near and dear to me. And one of the biggest reasons that addicts overdose is because they don't know what's in what they're shooting up or what they're smoking or what they're taking. So by legalizing it, then they know that A, there's no fentanyl in it, and B, the proper amounts. I mean, you're not going to stop people from doing drugs just by saying it's bad, don't do it. The real world doesn't work like that. I mean, I know sugar is bad. I consume lots of sugar. I mean, I try not to, but here I am. My biggest drug of choice is coffee. I can't wake up in the morning without coffee. So those two things are bad. Should we stop adults from having them?
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I think that we, in a perfect world, nobody would do it, but banning people from doing it doesn't fix the problem.
Yeah, I agree. Like if going back to your ex is, everyone does it. That's a terrible example.
Right. And I have kids and I talk to them about drug use. And when I do, it's never like, oh my God, drugs are so bad. Never do them. There's a reason people do drugs. They make you feel things and you shouldn't do it. And you especially shouldn't touch these particular things. In my family member's case, it's meth. And I'm watching as he is about to be homeless. And he now says that he has glue coming out of his face. And he sees things and he picks at it on his body. I mean, it's just a horrific drug. So I think being forward with your children, talking these things through is what we should be doing rather than saying it's terrible, never touch it, and you should go to jail. I don't think anybody should be in jail for a victimless crime, period, ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it would be like going to jail for getting an abortion.
Right. I mean, if you ask some Republicans, they might be in favor of that, though.
That's true. De Blasio opening the first legal shooting galleries for drug users in the U.S. Wow. With just 4 weeks left in office, De Blasio is opening the country's first supervised shooting galleries in Upper Manhattan amid a spike in overdose deaths and disturbing scenes of junkies shooting up on public sidewalks. That's the thing, though. If you're a downtown junkie, you're not going to get on the subway and go all the way uptown. I just feel like maybe they're going to just
Are they gonna have drugs here? Is this is it just a place to shoot up publicly, or is there's some? Do they have snacks or something? I mean, I'm not understanding the concept.
I think it depends what the snacks are. That's going to make the difference between if people come to this or not. Overdose prevention centers are a safe, effective way to address the opioid crisis. I'm proud to show cities in this country that after decades of failure, a smarter approach is possible, de Blasio said on Tuesday. The nonprofit centers in East Harlem and Washington Heights, too, are expected to open as early as Tuesday. The locations were chosen based on health need and depth of program experience, according to the health department. The sites will provide clean needles and social services, but users must bring their own drugs. Oh my
So it's
God.
a bring your own drugs party. Gotcha.
It's a BYOD. Let's see with this
Today
video.
has been an amazing day. It's been a historic day. It's been a day of love and supporting some of the most beautiful people in this world who have not been treating that way. We're humanizing an approach. We're following what our people have done throughout this world. Like them, we will do everything possible to make sure our folks stay alive. It's been an amazing day. People have been here. People have showed respect to what we're doing. We want to maintain that. It's work that comes from the soul and the heart. So our goal is when someone shows up, they have access to many, many options they wouldn't have in the street, and then get connected to care and other services that are life changing.
I don't know. If I'm a person who does drugs, I would feel like a place like this would be a trap, you know?
I agree. But I mean, I would love to see that they have services beyond just the clean needles, right? I would love to see if somebody wants help. Because I think the biggest problem we have in this country is the way we treat addicts and the way we treat. So if you want help, there's very few recourses for you. Unless you're thrown in jail and then the judge says, no, you can go to a rehab. Rehab is really expensive in this country. I mean, I once personally had to pay for my family member's treatment, and it was $17,000 for 1 month. And I'm talking about 15 years ago.
Oh,
So
boy.
yeah, it's really expensive. I really do think that we need to rethink how we handle this. So maybe if they have services, if they have a way to help people, if it's more than just a place to go get high, then I'd totally be behind this. But I really think that government isn't exactly in the position to maybe be opening these up. So you take money from people to then open these centers, and you think you're going to do a better job. Like I have so many questions. I have no idea what this was supposed to solve.
Yeah. Last year, over 2,000 New Yorkers died of drug overdoses, the highest since the city started tracking the figures in 2000. The most common drugs involved in the fatalities is opioids. Between January and March of this year, another 596 people lost their lives. Yeah, because people are depressed and they lost their jobs, and because of the lockdowns and because of all this COVID bullshit. It's not. We don't need to open
And fentanyl.
And fentanyl, yeah, that's essentially replaced heroin at this point, like on the streets, and it's harder to regulate. And exactly what you said, people don't know what's in it. The mayor tried to push the controversial proposal to open a total of 4 sites, but was blocked by Cuomo and Trump, who both opposed the plan. And now
Wait,
he's
Cuomo
going.
and Trump were on the same page on something? Funny.
Yeah, shocking. British Columbia has led North America in safe injection sites, all while crossing overdose death milestones every year. This is, to me, seems like at best a Band-Aid, and at worst a fucking distraction. I don't know. No, because if you're a person who's you're not gonna be like, let me go uptown. I don't know. No, you're just like, I just want to get high. You're not going to think like, oh, let me go do it somewhere else, because you've been able to do it and get away with it on the streets. Like I talked to a cop the other day that's like, you can't even get in trouble for having needles. So where's the motivation going to be to relocate? This is a dumb idea.
Yeah, I mean, again, and if hopefully there's something more than just a location, because I mean, you could literally have a location anywhere, right? Hopefully they have something more than just a location.
Ugh. If the motivation is to get people from off the streets, like that's the thing, they don't want people doing this on the streets. It's like, well, you need to penalize that then, because that's the only way someone's going to be motivated.
I wish I had all the answers on this one. Yeah,
It's frustrating.
I would
Yeah.
hate to see people penalized for their use, so I'm not going to necessarily agree on that one. I don't think that that's the answer. I think first and foremost is get out of the way, let people have legal, clean drugs. Nobody wants to go to fentanyl. Nobody wants to have heroin. I mean, some, I guess, but generally, it's a slow progression. You start with maybe cocaine, and or we've seen a very quick path if you were put on prescription medication by some doctors and then you're yanked off of it.
Like, you need a therapist and some cocaine. Let's bring you back down. Oh my God. I mean, of course, like the lovey-dovey answer is, of course, they all need therapists, but is that realistic?
They at least need help getting clean. Most of these drugs, you can't just go cold turkey.
Yeah. Uniprogram. It's definitely a complicated problem. It's very sad. I really feel for you, especially dealing with someone very close to you who is struggling with that. So that can't be easy at all.
But I use it, I talk about it because a lot of people are like, well, you have this person that's close to you, so you definitely don't want it legalized. And I'm like, no, I think it would help him tremendously if it was legal. At least he'd have resources and recourse to go get help. I mean, it's really hard to get help right now. So I think we need to treat it less as like, people think that all drug addicts are just these horrible people. And a lot of times it's good people we have. I mean, again, very close family member. We were, could have been me, and I think that that's something that humanity is lacking from this conversation.
Yeah. I wonder if at these centers they will give them, different drugs that can help them like stave off withdrawal, or like somebody in the chat mentioned Librium, or I don't know anything about
I don't know those. Yeah, I don't know those, but yeah, that was my question. Is the center going to have more than just needles and hey, cool place to shoot up
and leftover Halloween candy?
Do you really want candy when you're on half of these drugs? I'm not sure. I think we're thinking weed.
Right. I'm just thinking what I would want.
Right.
I'm like, anyone got a Twix? Anyone got an old Twizzler? Like, I came all the way up here.
Cheetos is my go-to high food.
Yeah. Ooh. True. Martha, can people, if people want to support you, where can they go to do that, and where can they go to like learn more about you?
So I have a website. It's marthabueno.com. It's very new, so it's not all the, it's not 100% the way I'd like it, but it's getting there. And then, of course, Twitter, which is on hot fire these days. But Twitter, I'm at Bueno for Miami on pretty much every social media platform.
Let me pull it up here. So it sounds like you are enjoying Twitter. You're not letting it get to you. A lot of people say of Twitter, like, oh, the worst people in the world are on Twitter.
I love Twitter. It's my new, I love it. It's a love-hate relationship, but I do enjoy it.
Look at this, crushing it.
Look at that. I still won't get verified though. Twitter does not want to verify me, and I'm already elected to an office. So
that's crazy. That's crazy. They never verified Curtis Sliwa, and he was running for, I think, governor. I think.
Really?
Yeah, he was running in New York, but Eric Adams won. It was really sad. I interviewed him. He's a cool guy. He should have won. He's like this scrappy old New Yorker. He founded the Guardian Angels. So I don't know. I feel like he would have been awesome.
I think New York has some really cool people too. I mean, what the heck? Why do you have to be a Democrat to win in New York? I mean,
yeah, New York's kind of a lost cause, but thank you for saying that. I just feel like it's
Larry Sharpe. Do you know Larry Sharpe?
I love Larry Sharpe.
Me too.
He is the guy who gold pilled me, and he taught me that term, gold pilling. Yeah.
I love Larry. Love
really
Larry.
Changed my life. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great guy.
Yeah. I mean, would have been a great presidential candidate too. Let's not discount him,
Yeah.
I just think there's so many great libertarians that I would hate to like pick my horse so early in the race too.
True.
Sorry. Call coming in on my WhatsApp.
It's a Larry. Yeah.
I wish it was Larry. I would have been like, sorry, Chrissy, I need to take this. It's Larry.
I love Larry. He's such a cool guy. He's like a dad. He's like a regular guy. He's a veteran. Oh my God. I mean, you guys know, if you listen to the podcast, I've done like at least 3 episodes with him. He's the shit.
He is the shit. I have to vouch for him. He is the shit. He's, I don't know. I have a soft spot for Larry Sharpe. Him and Spike Cohen. I have soft spots.
Yeah, I love Spike too. So guys, go to marthabueno.com, join her email list, follow her on Twitter at Bueno for Miami. Are you on TikTok as well? Yes.
I plead the fifth on that one. I like to record videos on TikTok and then I'll just post them, but I'm not good on TikTok. Listen, you can't be good at everything, okay? I'm not good at TikTok. It's not my thing.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm not on it. I just don't know if I can bring myself to it. I'm gonna have to work on my twerking. before I get on
Oh,
there.
for sure. I need to learn how to twerk if I'm going to be on
Mhm.
TikTok. Like, I need to do the dances.
Yeah. And get the whole the TikTok leggings, which I saw the other day in the Burlington Coat Factory. I'm like, all right. Now
Did you
that
get a pair? Did you?
No, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't
Come
know.
on. Like,
I
I
might have to
haven't
go
gone
back
one
and get
either, but I feel like it's like a thing. We all need a pair of like making your
If-
butt look amazing
Yeah.
pants.
I might have to go back and get them. I'm thinking about them. Which means
This is the thing we're definitely going to have to get.
let's both get a pair and we'll
Yeah.
reconvene.
And then we'll do a TikTok where we're twerking.
That would be
in our
good.
Twitter.
Yeah, Liberty twerks.
Can you imagine?
Whatever we need to get more people to notice us, right?
I'm pretty sure people would notice us if we did that.
True.
Gonna just put that out there. I don't know.
Okay. Good. We have a plan. Martha, thank you so much for coming on. It was such a pleasure to talk to you. You really have your shit together. I'm a big fan. Guys,
Thank you.
follow her on Twitter, join her mailing list, all the things. Can people donate to you yet? Are we at that stage where they can send
We
you
are
money?
at that stage. Please send me all the monies. I'm really terrible at doing this. And actually, that's up until very recently, the only reason I had made the news is how my opponent had raised so much more than me. So, yes, please.
Okay, great. Yes, and you can go to marthabueno.com and just scroll down to where it says contribute to freedom. Awesome. Martha, thank you so much for coming on. It was so great to talk to you. Thank you, chat, for your questions and comments, as always. Until next time, we'll see you guys later. Bye.